Clearly disappointed, Ange Postecoglou, talking about not taking control of the game.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a trend with Spurs. When they don't get those sort of high running stats that they've been able to get, they lose games. So when they don't have that intensity, it's easy. They're easy to play against, and I think Bournemouth recognised that in the first half, played their style, and just really disrupted Spurs' flow. The attacking players didn't really look like they could really score. It's really inconsistent from Spurs because they turn up against a Man City, score amazing goals, and then draw the game against Fulham. And come here with a really poor performance. So they've got to figure that part out. How consistent can they be? How can they get some momentum back in their season?
Do they need a plan B? This is what we talked about pre-match, isn't it? That there is this inconsistency. Is that because there isn't another way of playing?
I mean, the he's come out and said he only wants to play one way. He wants to play on the front foot, and there's nothing wrong with playing on the front foot. And I understand I like his interviews because he's always very honest, and what he talked about was they controlled the game in the first 5-10 minutes and probably had the best chance with Dominic Solanke. They score there, they go 1-0 up. It's a totally different game. They didn't, and then once they didn't take that chance, Bournemouth came back into it, and that was it. It was Tottenham were never ever troubling Bournemouth again, and so he'll be disappointed. Like he said, he went over to the fans and they told him quite clearly that they weren't good enough, and you've got to accept that.
Yeah, and do you respect him for going over and having a word or trying to have a word? Is that something that
I think you have to? I think you have to. I think he wants to take responsibility. Goes over. Listen, I'm the manager. I'll take responsibility. I'll pick the team. It's my tactics. He's come out and said, these are my principles, and this is how I play. He doesn't want to change. He loves to be on the front foot and that exciting football. I don't know. I do feel like sometimes, you might have to adapt. Because I felt like it's you can become too easy to play against. And even early on in the game, there was a few times where I felt like it was just one long pass and Bournemouth looked like, what Les said about every time they went forward, looked like they can score. But the fact that he actually went over, I respect him for that.
It does feel like the honeymoon period's over, though. Postecoglou came in, fresh air, everyone loved him, his interviews, but it feels a little bit like, it's changed a little bit. And I think the Spurs fans probably expect a little bit more in terms of the consistency of the team. Look at the Carabao Cup, they're in the quarter-final. Can they beat Man United? Can they win a cup? Can they do something to get the mood back at Spurs? It seems like something's changed a little bit.
I'm always sceptical about the managers going on the pitch and walking around. When you win, it's great, and I know you want to appreciate the spoils and all that, but when you lose games, it's difficult, and you're always going to get what he had there, And sometimes when a run of results goes the wrong way, manager heads straight down the tunnel. I think that's what they got to do at the end of the game.
Not sure what.